This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money, you sorry
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
At Designer Shoe Warehouse, we believe that shoes are an important part of, well, everything.
From first steps to first dates, from all-nighters to all-time personal bests.
From building pillow forts to building a life.
For all the big and small moments that make up your whole world, DSW is there. And we've got just the shoes. Find a shoe for every you from brands you love at brag-worthy prices at your DSW store or DSW.com.
It's Megan.
Are you ready for #Megan Summer?
Megan?
Megan.
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 Megan. Would you prefer that I give you a printout that you can read at your own pace?
Megan?
Yes, it's me. What a shock, etc.
On June 27th.
She is a smoking hot warrior princess.
All right, meat sacks, let's get to work. Are you going to stand in my way?
The Bee is back.
Do you think you learned your lesson the first time?
Megan.
Megan 2.0, only in theaters June 27th, rated PG-13.
Yeah. This is the Smiley Covenant, FM 100.3 KFAN, and the vast and ever-expanding 9 to noon audio network. Terp this, CT that, rotator cuff this, pre-D that. 9 to noon is in the air. Softy from Seattle is going to begin the presentation today. It's a Wednesday. We will reconvene with Mike Florio from ProFootballTalk.com. That'll take place about 40 minutes from now. And the talkbacks will be en vogue, middle of the radio presentation. But as mentioned, with the vast and ever-expanding 9 to noon audio network, we begin with a bang and a boom. Some would call it classic, others clatter. It's KJR Softy from Seattle, and we love him. Dave, you're the bomb for helping the show. 7 a.m. Cappuccino Capital Time. Florio's on 40 minutes from now. You happen to have a message for him, and good morning.
To Mike, I would say, hello, butthole. You can play that for him when he comes on the show in 40 minutes. And then number two, just think it's wise to just, full disclosure, what I'm doing right now. It is 7:02 in the a.m. here in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm doing exactly what you would do at 7:02 a.m. I'm getting out of the shower. I am currently buck naked, without clothes whatsoever. First time I've been completely nude doing your radio show. I feel like a hippie from the 1960s, and I feel free. So thank you for getting me off to such a great start this morning. And classic radio bit by you. Start off slow. With the worst guest you could find, with the least interesting person you could put on your radio program, knowing it's only going to get better from there for the next 3 hours. So a veteran move by you to start off the show with me.
Let's hold up on the Softy live stream of this opening segment, if you don't mind. It's a nudity thing. Well, there are myriad reasons. Yours truly asked you to come on the radio show today. First and foremost, the Seattle Mariners beat the Minnesota Twins last night. It was more of a spine tingler than Monday. They still have 2 games to go in this series. Here's a little inside tip for you. It's going to rain today, later in the day, and maybe into the early evening. So I'm not sure this one will get off. But nevertheless, your M's, are you just loving your M's, Softy?
Yeah, first of all, I don't understand how you guys could build a stadium without a retractable roof. That's number one. I don't know how much of a conversation that's been out there in your neck of the woods, but it sounds awfully ridiculous to me.
No.
Especially in a place like Minnesota, but hey, what do I know about Midwestern weather patterns, man? I just know it rains a lot here in Seattle.
Honey.
In April and September and October, but October we're not really concerned about because the Mariners really never play in October. At least they've only done it one time in the last 25 years. Am I fired up for the Mariners? We had this exact same conversation on the radio show yesterday.
Sweet.
Because we're lazy and we bring up topics like that on the radio program almost daily. Mount Rushmore of Seattle sports, what teams got you most fired up between the 4 big ones here in Seattle? What logo do you want to have when the Sonics come back in a couple of years from now? Stupid, lazy stuff like that because we are indeed lazy. But, yeah I'm fired up for Cal Raleigh. I'm fired up for a guy that could push Aaron Judge for the American League MVP. I'm fired up for maybe the greatest individual run the Mariners have had since Ichiro went after George Sisler's single-season hits record in 2004, and maybe even before that when Griffey was going after Roger Maris along with McGuire and Sosa in 1998. So what Cal Raleigh's doing right now has got everybody watching to see him. It's not so much about the team, Paul, as it is the guy behind the dish who's severely underpaid.
Right.
He's only making a couple of $1 million this year. He just signed an extension, 6 years, $105 million, which still puts him, outside the top 50 in total money in baseball. He fired Scott Boras, his agent, and went out and represented himself and bought out the last 3 years of arbitration. Yeah. And you wonder if he had listened to Boras and waited until at least this year was over, how much extra money would Cal Raleigh have put in his big dumper pocket as opposed to the paltry $105 million that he's making right now? So phenomenal guy, phenomenal player, but he's the story right now, not the Mariners.
Amen. No doubt about that. And big dumper guy. I mean, has he always been, well, he hasn't always been this solid, but this is otherworldly his last 2, 3, 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, this is ridiculous what he's doing. I mean, it's a natural ascension to the player that a lot of people thought he could be. He's been a very solid player, always been a great catcher, great leader. Yeah, you may remember, I don't know how, if this kind of news travels to you guys out there, but 2 years ago, the Mariners missed the playoffs after making it the year before for the first time since 2001. And Cal Raleigh was angry. And Cal Raleigh was only a second-year guy when he came out and basically ripped apart management and criticized management for not going after help to help put the baseball team over the top. And that's the day a lot of people fell in love with him, Paul. When you've got a guy like that who's basically just a young buck. He's a second-year guy, and he's the one popping off. He's the one going after management. He's the one where the manager is telling him to calm down, which pissed me off, by the way, when Scott Service said that. And he got fired a couple years later. But we all fell in love with Cal Raleigh the day that he decided to grow big enough balls to go right after management in his second year in the major leagues, and he's been a star ever since.
Is not to turn this into M's fan line, but is Arozarena good, decent, or not great? I can't get a hold of the man's identity.
I think Randy Arozarena is kind of one of those guys who's just kind of there, He's just there. He just kind of hangs out, plays left field. Every now and then he's going to have a decent hit for you in a clutch situation, but he's nowhere near the guy that people tune in to watch. They tune in to watch Julio. They tune in to watch Cal. They tune in to watch J.P. Crawford. They tune in to watch this phenomenal rotation, including Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, and Luis Castillo when they're healthy. They tune in to see Andres Munoz save baseball games. They do not tune in to see Randy Arozarena. And you remember last year at the deadline, they made two moves. They got him and they got Justin Turner from the Dodgers. And Justin Turner, they let walk. Didn't think he was good enough to bring back. So Randy Arozarena is a very forgettable player. He's kind of the guy that you forget even plays for you until people like you bring it up. So thank you for bringing him back to my conscience. I needed that.
Softy KJR, he's elite. How much do you track the red hot Seattle Storm? Like Skyler and some others were on fire until Caitlin rolled in there last night and laid down the law.
Well, that's the thing. Is I got to be honest with you, I had no idea that they even lost until you just brought it up.
Wow.
I was tracking the game a little bit. I mean, here's the thing. They lost to the Fever, and Caitlin Clark went 3 for 13 from the floor and scored 6 points.
Right.
So they didn't lose because of her.
Right.
But I got to tell you, man, I don't know. The one thing I was looking forward to seeing last night was Sophie Cunningham. Big fan of Sophie Cunningham for a lot of reasons, man. I think the WNBA is doing something smart, and they're playing up the sex appeal of these players. You saw when Kelsey Plum got divorced, what she was wearing that night when she was walking around the arena. Sophie Cunningham's online profile has exploded, especially on TikTok. I know you spend a lot of time on TikTok, Paul, looking at WNBA players. But the WNBA is trying to appeal to a much broader audience, and I think it's helping them, man. But yeah, I honestly didn't even know that they'd lost to the Fever last night until you brought it up to me.
Well,
so thank you.
Hey, and you know, you mentioned the lazy nature, which is not true. You over exaggerated it with Mount Rushmore. I mean, the other day I'm like, we're going through some talkback setups, and I'm like, toughest game on the Viking schedule and why. So I know what you're talking about there.
Yeah, there you go. That's a classic.
But if you're looking for a Storm related guest. 9 to noon had Lexi Brown on the show a few times before the pandemic, back 2019. She's a real live wire in case you're looking for some Storm steam.
You talking about JT's wife?
Who? Who's JT?
JT Brown? Is that his wife?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm just trying to help you.
Brown?
I'm trying to help you through the sports abyss here. Did you happen to see that Connecticut girl slap Caitlin Clark in the face and call it defense? Then the team's fullback plowed into her as she was going to miss with the face slap. What a world, right?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's about time somebody stepped up and saved the queen of the WNBA from embarrassment and destruction to her facial area. Pisses me off. And you know what else pisses me off is when ESPN tries to shove this Angel Reese thing down our throat. You see the tweet they sent out the other day, Angel Reese launching a three. And with the googly eyes, whatever. And it was the only field goal of the game she'd made the entire night, and it pulled the Sky to within 21 points. So they are really trying to shove this Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark narrative down our throat. But there's a lot of obviously clickbait going on with the WNBA. We mentioned the sex appeal. You know, I do find it kind of interesting that Angel Reese has become a little bit of a heel, if you will, for Caitlin Clark. You know, I'm not sure how popular she is as far as the perception. I know she's got a lot of impressions on social media and people follow her, but I think it's great. I think all of this is great for the WNBA, no matter what reason you tune in, for the controversy, for the fighting, for the wrestling happening on the floor, for the personal, challenges between people like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Way more eyeballs on the WNBA now than there were 2 or 3 years ago. I think that's fantastic.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening live to @SoftyKJR. That's where you find him via the tweet machine in the iHeart audio family. He's a juggernaut, KJR in Seattle. You can listen to the show late afternoon, cornfields time, on the free iHeart Radio app. Sam Darnold, how to get along at minicamp? 12's country, elated with what's coming with old Sammy D?
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Seahawks fan base is kind of split, Paul, about Sam Darnold. I think it's an upgrade over Geno, but, man, there's a lot of Geno fanboys and fangirls out there that were not happy to see Geno Smith get let go to the Raiders. And I think it's an upgrade. I think they'll be better off with with Sam. My concern is the receiver core. I mean, you've gone from Jackson Smith and Jigba, Lockett, and DK Metcalf to Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I think they're weaker at wide receiver than they were a year ago. Their pass rush is still not great. They're counting on a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, who's going to be 33 years old, to be one of their starting edge rushers. They really haven't done a ton to address the center spot, if anything, or the right guard spot. Got Gray Zabel, as you know, the kid from North Dakota. He's going to be an instant day one starter for them at left guard, but they still have massive holes on the other side of the offensive line. You saw that Viking offensive line kind of crumble a little bit. You saw Sam Darnold crumble with them in the final 2 games of the year. So I think there's a lot of folks that are wondering how much last year was just a flash in the pan for Sam Darnold, or has he really found something, at the age of 26, 27 years old? We're going to find out real quick. But look, the contract isn't prohibitive. If it doesn't work out, there's nothing keeping the Seahawks from going out and drafting somebody in next year's draft to replace them down the road. They got Jalen Milroe in the 3rd round. I don't think the guy can throw, but we'll see what happens sitting on the bench for a year and a half or so behind a guy like Slingin' Sammy. So the Seahawks fan base is really divided. It's unbelievable. I mean, the Geno Smith haters think the Geno Smith lovers are the stupidest people walking the face of the earth, and vice versa. I mean, you talk about lazy topics. I can just go on the air and mention the name Geno Smith, and the phone lines are jammed for 4 hours a day. So it's going to be really interesting come September to see how much slack Seahawks fans give Sam when the regular season starts.
Are you still naked, or have you clothed yourself?
I have sweatpants on as we speak because I can multitask and talk to you and put clothes on at the same time. I do have to tell you, though, before we get out of here, my wife and I were recently in Greece. We went to Athens, had a great time, and then flew down to the island of Santorini. And I'm sitting in the hotel lobby in Santorini in Ia at the Canavis Epitome Hotel. And a guy walks up to me, introduces himself. He says, "I'm Craig Mackey. I believe that's how you say his name. Are you Softy?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I listen to you all the time on 9 to Noon with Paul Allen in Minneapolis." That's how far a reach you've got. You're going all the way to Greece. You're going all the way to the southern islands of Greece, just maybe a 90-minute flight north of Cairo, Egypt, and a 2-hour flight west of Jerusalem. That's how big you guys are in Minneapolis, that a random guy walks up to me in Santorini and says, "I know you, and I know you from the Paul Allen Show." Not your show in Seattle, not KJR, the Paul Allen Show on KFAN in Minneapolis. How cool is that?
It's not the 9 to Noon spot. It's the vast and ever-expanding iHeart Audio Network. And see, you doubted the talkback function, but look, it's popularizing things with iHeart so much we've gone worldwide, David.
Amazing. It's just amazing. I mean, like Cal Raleigh, whatever contract you signed, you're underpaid, my friend. Need a new agent.
Let me ask you this to close. With your beloved Seahawks and the aggravated 12s.
I can't believe you haven't asked me about the Thunder yet, by the way, but we can skip that for next time. That's fine.
Did you guys get the skeletal remains of Cooper Kupp or high-end Cooper Kupp? What are you vibing? The soft?
Well, how many games has he missed in the last 3 years? He's missed a season. He's missed a full season. So hopefully there's a little more tread left on that tire, if you know what I'm talking about. These are the kinds of things you say when a player plays for your team. I don't know if you guys have noticed that phenomenon or not, but when a player comes to your team, he's instantly better, and you instantly look at the positives versus the negatives. For example, if the 49ers had signed Cooper Kupp in free agency, we'd be saying the exact same thing you are. Oh, he's washed, he's done, he's 33, he's got nothing left, he's injury-prone, there's a reason why the Rams let him go, blah, blah, blah. But instead, no. He comes to Seattle. Oh, this is great. He's 33. Yeah, he's been banged up, but man, it's like a 33-year-old in the 29-year-old body. And look at the vast knowledge he's going to bring to this offense. Look at the unbelievable leadership. Look at the way he's going to help Jackson Smith and Jigba. Look at all the miles he would have had on that body that he doesn't have because he wasn't playing much in the last 3 years. So those are the things you look at when a guy plays for you. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. And again, we're going to find out pretty fast about him as well. The problem with the wide receiver core, Paul, is there's not a true X. There's not a true outside receiver. Who's going to be DK Metcalf, right? Who's going to be that guy that can win that one-on-one battle on the outside and win in the red zone. And I don't know who that player is, because all three of these guys, at least as far as Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba are concerned, they're slot guys. They're not ex-receivers. They're slot guys. So they're missing that replacement for DK Metcalf right now, for sure.
Softy, David, appreciate you greatly. Do you think iHeart ever will get that high-end national touting show going with you, me, and somebody whose name I keep forgetting? I mean, that could be that could be fat stacks of cash from the iHeart machine.
I think if iHeart is smart, they'll let me, and if you want to join, that's fine. Maybe Nordo wants to be a part of this as well. I just think we have to have an unfiltered, profanity-filled podcast that goes on iHeartRadio or the iHeart Media stream every single day. People always ask me, I'm sure they ask you guys too, what's it like behind the scenes? What do you say behind the scenes at KFAN? Well, I can't tell you what we say behind the scenes at KJR because we'd all be fired the second it goes over the air. So people want real life. They want reality. They want unfiltered enthusiasm. I think it's time for us to give it to them.
You're the very best.
Profanity, Paul.
God bless you and your family, and we will talk soon. Thank you, Softy.
Well, thank you, and I am now fully clothed, by the way, just so you know. So you can take that image with you the rest of the day.
See you, brother. That's a Softy, Dave Mahler, Softy from KJR. That's Softy KJR via Twitter, if you'd like to learn more about him and or follow. Like I said, we begin 9 to noon today. When you begin with Softy, you either begin with a bang and a boom, and some deeming it classic, others deeming it clatter.
I always love that
Can
one.
you picture his wife and dog just trying to sleep in at 7 a.m. on a Wednesday?
Crazy.
He gets out of bed, rolls into the shower. Now he's in there at 160 decibels, just screaming at people.
Yeah, and he's so gifted and so smart. He talked himself out of a box because he's like, when you built Target Field, did anybody think to use a retractable roof? I mean, I can't remember. I mean, how many games do they postpone or cancel during the course of a Twin season?
That feels like 2 or 3, maybe.
Right. But here's where he got himself out of the box, because he was imploring, or he was chiding those who built Target Field for not having a retractable roof because of rain, recognizing he's doing this radio show from Seattle.
I always love that.
Where it rains every single day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's just the ways and means become rearranged. Ladies and gentlemen, it's summer. Who doesn't want to grill grass-fed beef?
Ooh.
Vikes Bites are around the corner, followed by Florio, then some talkbacks, and the Vox of all Voxes ever to Vox joins 9 to noon, about 11:03 today. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. That set list is courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. That's what's on deck. And here comes Nordo with the cash thing.
Yeah, the fan, along with BigDeck.com, want to give you a chance to put some bonus bucks in your pocket with the National Cash Contest. So go to KFAN.com and use the keyword check. You might win $1,000 with the keyword check at KFAN.com.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money you saw in
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
It's Megan.
Are you ready for hashtag Megan's Summer?
Megan?
Megan.
Megan. Megan. Megan. Would you prefer that I give you a printout that you can read at your own pace?
Megan?
Yes, it's me. What a shock, etc.
On June 27th.
She is a smoking hot warrior princess.
All right, meat sacks, let's get to work. Are you going to stand in my way?
The Bee is back.
You think you learned your lesson the first time.
Megan.
Megan 2.0, only in theaters June 27, rated PG-13.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yes.
Vikes Bites! Vikes Bites, 9 to noon, brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. I heard, actually, Matt, the owner of Thousand Hills, there was a recorded spot during that break there, just before you heard from PA about Slumberland. And he kind of painted this picture. I mean, I'm a human. I'm not a cow. Depending in the right light, I look like one sometimes.
Stop.
But a diverse salad bar of grass and legumes. That sounds unbelievable for these cows. I can tell you the beef itself, regenerative agriculture, can't speak confidently or intelligently to that, but I can tell you the finished product is awesome. Clearwater, Minnesota's own, Thousand Hills. You can find them at Co-ops, Kowalski's, and Coburns. Just a little quick recap of last segment. The most important question asked during that segment was,
are you still naked or have you clothed yourself? Dan Mario. Are you still naked or have you clothed yourself? Thank you.
Dan Mario. Vikes Bites will start here, and actually building off of one particular topic that's important to Seattle and prescient and timely and correlated to Minnesota. How much do you think people are going to box score watch Sam Darnold this year, PA? Where, you think after Kirk Cousins, his tenure ends in Atlanta, there were some that wished him best of luck. There were some that, thank goodness, he's off our cap. And then there were others that inherently will just kind of hope Kirk Cousins fails in Atlanta, et cetera. But a lot of people were watching to see how Kirk would handle things down in the ATL after he got all that cash. Didn't end up going too well.
Right.
Similarly with a Sam Darnold, where they offered him something and maybe it was reasonable or it was best of what was reasonable for us. He ends up finding this great deal after helping bring the Vikings to a 14-win season. How much do you think people are going to be kind of peeking out there? We got JJ here. It's JJ season. But some maybe casting their gaze to Seattle to see how Sam handles a new team and a new coach.
Well, I would say dramatically less than Cuzbuzz, because when Kirk got here in 2018, there was a benchmark deal, a 3-year fully guaranteed deal that never had been given to a player. And so therefore, the opinion for those who use the Vikings as a distraction and genuinely care about them is, to whom much is given, much is required. Well, his 2018 was his worst season he had here, but it gradually got better year by year. And then I think Kirk left with more fans than at the end of the 2018 season when he arrived.
Yeah.
With Sam, it was an absolute mercenary gun for hire situation.
It was.
And there were a lot of adversaries getting gunned down on third down and during the course of games over the course of a season, despite some strays at Jacksonville and Tennessee and things like that. It ended so badly with Sam, I think for a lot of fans, it was don't let the screen door hit you on the way out. So I don't think it's close to resonating with Minnesota Vikings fans when it comes to box score chasing or, hey, how'd Sam do? Unless they have Smith and Jigba or Cupper Coop or some skill player, Kenneth Walker or Charbonnet on their fantasy squads.
Charbonnet.
And they just kind of fall into the Darnold box score.
Yeah.
It will not be on the level it was here because they run offense differently. And the head coach is a defensive-minded head coach, Michael McDonald. You don't know Sam, he's my brother. So it's gonna fall back. The question is, does it fall off a cliff? And which way would you wager? That it either stays the same, it's better statistically than it was here, or it falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
Falls off a cliff is plus 320. We like underdogs in the covenant, don't we?
Vikes Bites!
Are you still naked or have you clothed yourself? Honey?
That's a good question. Level of faith. Christian Darrisaw. Now, I think you were doing some vocal maintenance, but during mini camp, it was kind of newsy that, hey, number 71's out there. That's sweet. Now,
I was out there. I watched him run around.
He's still very much in rehab mode, but he was participating, and he was in the mix. It was good to see Christian on the field.
It was unbelievable for me.
So, happy to see Christian. Certainly, that's obvious. But in terms of camp and potentially early in the season, are you cool with school and your level of faith, and just in terms of in the short term, that left tackle situation, one way or another, is going to be handled well?
Yeah, I don't see how Christian doesn't start week one. I mean, it's the 2 or 3 days of minicamp. Let's say it was the first one. While he was out there with the ones running around. Now, I'm sure there were limitations to it, but I mean, it's outside of that monstrous 50-pound black brace that he had on his leg and his knee.
Yeah, his knee brace, I could wear that as a belt.
Yeah, it was unbelievable how big that thing was. And so then he takes it off and he walks back to the locker room and he looked to be walking normally. But we're not trying to be a doctor up in this covenant. But 7 months and change removed from an ACL, carrying that weight. And looking at the averages of how long it generally takes people to come back, I thought that was an anomaly that he was out there next to Jackson, who was next to Kelly, who was next to Fries, who was next to O'Neal. And then you look at it and you look at them get down in their stances, then stand up and just kind of gallop ahead to memorize the plays and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a big offensive lineup in this thing.
Oh, really?
They're a little big and burly. And Donovan Jackson, I don't know, exactly how his pass protection in the formative stages of what hopefully for the young man is a decade-and-a-half career as a game-changing offensive lineman. You can see when he does the drills with the way his lower body is constructed, how big his legs are, how he fires off the line. Well, yeah, you can tell that, I mean, it's seriously, it might even have been on the plane flight back from Glendale, Arizona, somebody banging their hand down saying, we're running up the middle. I don't care if we have to get Steve Hutchinson out of retirement, convince Randall McDaniel to stop teaching and get yourself in shape. We're doing whatever it takes. The skeletal remains of Kelechi Osemele. What's Marshall Yanda doing these days?
Yeah.
We're going to make this thing better. Dwight Stevenson, age-old Dolphin center, one of the greats in the history of the game. We're going to make this thing better, and we're going to have an option of running up the middle and doing it effectively. Then the next move is going to be to get a running back who can complement the speedster we have now. And I still can't believe Kwesi pulled off that Jordan Mason deal the way he did. And this is FEMA, Fairness and Mason Act. We're not trying to make him sound like a cross between Tom Rathman and Roger Craig. But that's what he does. He runs between the tackles, and he's good at it, and he puts the hit on people. And, like when they got him, the first thing I said was, think Alexander Madison, but faster, shiftier.
A little better vision, maybe?
And harder cuts. The vision part will bear its fruit. But the cuts, and you can just see it immediately first time you see him.
I'm excited to see him.
You got me a little excited right there, too.
Vikes Bites!
Are you still naked or have you clothed yourself? When 9 to noon returns, we will reconvene with Mike Florio from ProFootballTalk.com, PFT, we. And that'll walk us up to right around the 10 o'clock hour. And that's when we open up the talkbacks at the free iHeartRadio app. By the way, it can be a dealer's choice Wednesday if you're interested, which means you throw the verbal cards in the air and we wave our hands like we just don't care, even though we do care. So it can be any topic you want to bring up from the world of sports. Free iHeartRadio app, baby microphone up to 30 seconds. It's 9:34 and you're listening to FM 100.3 KFAN. This is your iHeart audio leader.
Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money. You sorry.
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
It's Megan.
Are you ready for hashtag Megan Summer?
Megan?
Megan.
Megan. Would you prefer that I give you a printout that you can read at your own pace?
Megan?
Yes, it's me. What a shock, etc.
On June 27th.
She is a smoking hot warrior princess.
All right, meat sacks, let's get to work. Are you going to stand in my way?
The bee is back.
You think you learned your lesson the first time? Megan.
Megan 2.0, only in theaters June 27, rated PG-13.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Man.
PFT. Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com, author of Father of Mine and several other books, joins us now. Hey, Mike, why are you so jammed up this week? Is it a deep stretch of that new book? And good morning.
Well, it's funny. And good morning, Paul. It's great to talk to you. I missed you the past couple of weeks when you were engaging in the ever-pressing vocal maintenance. I'm into week 2 of the 6-week PFT Live hiatus. Mm-hmm. And what happens is, during the hiatus, from the obligation of a 2-hour morning show, every day, with no vocal maintenance days, I need to negotiate that in my next contract, I push all the stuff that I can't get to from the end of July through early June into that 6 weeks window. So there's a bunch of stuff I just have to do. And yes, I've got another book that I'm trying to wrap up that I hope to get out there by the middle of August. And this collusion grievance ruling that had been hidden for 5.5 months. I was banging for someone to get their hands on it. My friend Pablo Torre did, and that has caused all hell to break loose at a time when nothing is supposed to be going on.
So, wow, with this Kyler Murray collusion piece you wrote yesterday, Cards and Chargers owners texting with joy that Bidwell, who owns the Cards, won the Murray deal. And along the way, Negan caught a stray. The Browns caught a stray. This thing is juicy, isn't it?
Wait, how did the Browns catch a stray? What do you mean?
I think didn't one of the owners say the Browns messed something up with the deal?
Well, yeah, the whole thing started because the Browns gave a fully guaranteed contract to Deshaun Watson.
Right.
That's what started all of this. That happened middle of March of 2022. By the end of that month, the owners convened in Palm Beach for the annual meeting, and D. Smith, the former executive director of the NFLPA, always refers to that as the collusion meeting, and he's right, because at that meeting, and this was found by the arbitrator, the league, the management council, with the blessing of the commissioner, tried to encourage and did encourage the teams to limit the guarantees in contracts. The only reason the NFL won the grievance is because the arbitrator foolishly, in my opinion, nonsensically concluded that the teams didn't listen to what the league told them to do. But the Watson deal was the thing that tried to get the teams to hold the rope on fully guaranteed contracts, and they did. Kyler Murray was the next one up. No fully guaranteed contract. Congratulations from Dean Spanos, the Chargers owner, who said, you're going to help us with our quarterback. Then Russell Wilson, traded to the Broncos, doesn't get a fully guaranteed contract, even though at the time he was traded, he thought they were going to give him one. What happened in between? Deshaun Watson and the league meeting where they said, restrict guarantees. And then finally, Lamar Jackson didn't get a 5-year fully guaranteed contract. So those are the three guys at the focal point of this. And again, the arbitrator found that the league tried to do it. They're the gang that couldn't collude straight. They tried to tell them to do it, and they didn't do it. And I reject the idea that the teams didn't do it. They were just able to convince the arbitrator that they didn't do it. Common sense, I believe, and my own understanding of the way the sausage gets made after 25 years of following, it's beyond reasonable argument that the teams were colluding when it came to preventing the spread of fully guaranteed contracts.
So if you're, and I don't know when this text message exchange that's been revealed took place, but
July 22, 2022.
Okay, so has Justin Herbert got a deal after Dino Spanos was like, this helps us, or we're going to try to do the same thing with our quarterback? Is that true?
Yes, and Herbert got his deal after the 2022 season. Right? I think at some point in 23, after he had 3 years in the NFL, he didn't get a fully guaranteed contract. No quarterback's gotten a fully guaranteed contract since Deshaun Watson. And Herbert, as someone with knowledge of this grievance told me yesterday, would be the perfect plaintiff moving forward. The problem is, at some point, the grievance based on the 3 named quarterbacks was expanded to include 594 other players. We don't know who the players are because that list is still a secret. That's the weird thing about all this, that everything is a secret. It shouldn't be a secret. It should all be out there for people to understand what happened and why.
Right.
But if Herbert was one of the 594, the NFL would say, hey, your case has already been determined. And Herbert would be like, what are you talking about? I never signed up for a grievance. I never had a chance to fully investigate and maybe see what other text messages Dean Spanos sent to people within the Chargers, his son John, who's the head of football operations. I mean, if Dean Spanos is going to casually make a comment that would be evidence of coordination, which is another way of saying collusion, with Michael Bidwell, the owner of the Cardinals, what's he going to say internally? And that was never investigated. The discovery focused on Murray and Wilson and Jackson, not Herbert and 593 other players. So there's just a lot of layers to this onion, and the more you peel it, the more it stinks. And it all comes back to this idea of why in the hell did the union bury this thing for 5.5 months?
Any idea what's next with this?
I know that players are talking about what their options are, and there may be options as it relates to the league. There may be options as it relates to the union. One of the realities of the CBA, you've got 50 days to file a non-injury grievance from the moment the event happens. So if, upon the ruling that the league did indeed urge teams to collude as it relates to fully guaranteed contracts, January 14, 2025, you got 50 days after that ruling to file a grievance of your own to say, hey, I may have been victimized by my contract, and now I know, and now I want to explore. I want to look into what communications there may have been within the organization when I didn't get a fully guaranteed contract. By hiding it for 5 months, the union arguably has blown the window for any other player to pursue his rights, and that would result in what's known as a duty of fair representation case against the union if the players choose to do that, where they would sue the union for screwing up their interests, for not letting them know this thing existed so they could get their claim filed. So there's a lot of different ways this can go, and I don't know what's going to happen. There's also, and somebody made a great point to me yesterday, Paul, regardless of whatever happens in court, this is something that the union should have used as a hammer against the league. You know, the players will never activate the nuclear option within the confines of work stoppage and strike and lockout. They're always going to cry uncle before they'd miss a game check. They want to play football and they want to get paid. And I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying that's the way it works. The owners will do it and the players won't. So if you're on uneven footing when it comes to the ultimate weapon within the context of labor negotiations, a work stoppage, you got to use whatever you have. They got something that they could use in court. They could use, hey, as someone suggested, run to the Department of Justice Antitrust Division and show this to them and tell them to investigate the NFL for other forms of antitrust, other forms of collusion beyond the confines of their labor relationship with their players. All the other employees of the leagues and the teams aren't within a union. There's a strong belief that there's collusion as to coaches. That's something I'm going to be writing about hopefully later today. So there's a lot of ways this can go. The fact that the union hasn't used this to its full advantage, they haven't used it at all, that to me is stunning. And you have to wonder whether or not union leadership, player leadership, is going to decide to make a change at the very top of the organization.
PFT. A-Raj told McAfee this probably is his last season. And by the way, do you know McAfee well? I mean, he's absolutely crushed that brand so well. So kudos to him.
Oh, absolutely. And I've known him for years. He was a kicker at West Virginia University, became a punter in the NFL. He was never the full-time punter. It's just odd. He was the kicker, and he had both skill sets, and he got the most out of his career as an NFL punter, and he's done a great job in this lane. But the Rodgers thing, somebody asked me about this yesterday. It's like, what did he say? And I'll ask you, Paul, what exactly did he say?
Right.
I'm pretty sure this will be my last year. Is that what he said?
Yes. Yeah, that's
Is that a surprise to anyone?
Well, no, it's not.
I'm pretty sure this will be my last year. He's 41. He turns 42 on December 3rd. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be his last year, too. Now, it doesn't mean it will be. And, Paul, the biggest problem for the Steelers would be a Brett Favre-style 2009, followed by a let's run it back, and next year is a disaster, as the Vikings found out in 2010. So treat it as 1 year. Don't do a second year. Move on next year. No matter how good it is this year, don't give in to the temptation to do it again. And I say that both as to Rodgers and as to the Steelers, because we saw what happens. There's no guarantee that one special year is going to become two.
And at ProFootballTalk.com right now, there's a piece that Rodgers and Steelers coach Mike Tomlin, were speaking weekly while Aaron was away. But still, if you're the Steelers, are you sure he even wants to be there? I mean, from Cam Hayward calling him out to Rodgers gracing them with his minicamp presence, the whole thing has been of the clandestine variety.
Well, and the fact that he was speaking to Tomlin on a regular basis, it confirms the idea that a calculation was made as to minimizing the distraction that he was going to be. So if you're not on the team at all, you're hovering over the team, but you're not on the team, and therefore you're not at these off-season workouts, you're one level of distraction. If you've signed a contract and joined the team, and you're not showing up for voluntary workouts, you're a different level of distraction. I believe he chose the path of least distraction. Just don't sign. I don't want to be at the voluntary off-season. Tomlin says, that's fine. We'll take what we can get. Our alternatives are Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, right? So they have that communication between themselves, and they decide, let's just let this thing hover. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a distraction, but nothing like if you sign and you just don't show up. So I think they mutually agreed that's what they were going to do, and now they move forward. So him saying that he talked to Tomlin on a weekly basis tells me that our instincts are right, that they knew from the moment he showed up on the Friday, the second day of the full-blown NCAA men's basketball tournament and ruined everyone's plans in the building to watch basketball all day. They had to hold his hand for 6 hours, and I'm joking a little bit. But can't you come another day? It's the second day of the men's basketball tournament, and they're going to multitask. They're going to get ready for the draft, and they're going to watch games. And here comes Aaron Rodgers, big-footing our enjoyment of the second day of the men's basketball tournament. Why didn't you just come Monday?
Right. Hey, the Minnesota Vikings.
I am kidding. Before someone aggregates that
we understand.
And makes it a headline, I am kidding.
The Minnesota Vikings get the AFC North this year, and the champion Eagles are here. Would you go over 8.5 wins for Minnesota, under the number, or just pass because it's like too tough?
Well, I would pass because we don't know what J.J. McCarthy's going to do. That's the key. That's the great unknown. Where will the Vikings be taken by a guy who hasn't played? It's kind of like Dante Culpepper all over again. Although Culpepper wasn't injured his rookie year, he sat behind Randall Cunningham and then Jeff George in that year that culminated in the 49-37 loss to the greatest show-offs on turf in the divisional round. That was another year that should have been a Super Bowl appearance. But Dante Culpepper took over in 2000 after Denny Green went on bended knee to try to get Dan Marino to play 1 year for the Vikings. Culpepper took over, and look at what he did. And I hadn't thought about those parallels back to the 2000 offseason, but Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers, Dante Culpepper, J.J. McCarthy. The only difference is the knee injury for Culpepper came multiple years later and was far worse than the knee injury that J.J. had.
And lastly, ESPN.com did an NFC North piece last week, and a topic was the assistant coach from the division most likely to become a head coach in 2026. So Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores kind of dominated the chat here. And here's the question. Is Flores head coaching again a no shot given he's involved in lawsuit or lawsuits against the league?
I think it's going to be very difficult, and I think the moment he filed that lawsuit, he had to accept. And if I would have been his lawyer in the meeting at the time that we decide whether or not we're going to pull the pin on this grenade, I would have said, hey, Brian, you got to understand, the moment you authorize me to file this suit, you will never be a head coach in the NFL again. And you may never get another job in the NFL again. This all happened 5 years after Colin Kaepernick was frozen out of the NFL for good. And whatever your opinion is of Colin Kaepernick, I'd like to think that as reasonable people we can conclude that the NFL slammed the door in his face and never opened it again because he dared to stand up to Big Shield. And Flores, and this begins with Art Rooney and Mike Tomlin hiring Brian Flores to be an assistant coach not long after the crap hit the fan, February 1 of 2022, and the Wilfs for hiring, and Kevin O'Connell for hiring Brian Flores to come in and be the defensive coordinator in 2023. But it's going to be hard for him to be a head coach because the supply of viable candidates is always going to surpass the demand. And it's easy to say, hey, he's going to be, oh, yeah, hey, he's going to be, oh, yeah. And it would take something like statistically off the charts, 85 Bears type of a thing, I believe, to make him a head coach again because he has sued not just the league, he's sued multiple teams, the Texans, the Broncos, the Giants, and the Dolphins. So he'll never coach those four teams, ever. Not that he was ever going to coach the Dolphins again, but who knows? Crazier things have happened. But as long as that suit's out there, and it's still in its very early stages, I just think, and even after that suit's gone, I think, again, this gets back to the collusion case. It's all very insular. Even though they're competitors, it's a league, it's a club. And when you go against one of us, you go against all of us, and that's going to be the problem that he faces moving forward.
Appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, all right?
See you, Paul.
Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com. Into the middle portion of the radio show, which will include News du Nord and some talkbacks from the free iHeartRadio app. And also, we'll begin with this question. Ben Saraf. Who is he and what is he to you? Find out when 9 to noon continues on KFAN.
My name is Desiree, and I'm a first-generation college student.
I'm Zach. I'm undecided in my major, and I'm a catcher.
This message was sent to you.
$500 down the toilet along with your performance. You are worthless.
Get the hell off the field before you lose me any more money you saw in
This is wrong.
I'm more than a bet.
Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Have you ever felt that uneasy anxiety when the 4 p.m. hour strikes? The creeping meal-related distress that happens when you don't quite feel prepared? You know, dinner dread. Let's get rid of that unpleasant feeling forever with one word. Stouffer's. No matter what happens, you'll have a dinner plan that everyone loves with Stouffer's. Some chicken enchiladas or a cheesy chicken and broccoli pasta bake is always welcome, whether it's Plan A or Plan D-licious. When the clock strikes dinner, think Stouffer's. Shop now for family favorites.
Let your imagination take flight with an AI-powered PC from Lenovo. Whether it's creating digital art, designing new software, or building a portfolio for a future career, our PCs are powered by Intel Core Ultra processors to help students unlock smarter learning and unleash their creativity. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. All you have to do is choose the one that fits your passion. Head to Lenovo.com to shop AI PCs and find your perfect companion. Plus, get 5% off when you create an education account.